The framework that you see on the screen right now has been responsible for me starting not only one, not only two, but three different successful school communities. And these funnels alone do anywhere between $250,000 to $300,000 per month. Today's video, I want to show you exactly what buttons you need to press in order to actually implement this into your coaching business, same way that I have with my coaching business partners, and skip the hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads and the 80-hour weeks that it took to actually develop this system, so you can immediately walk away with a $25K a month in new cash funnel that you can run over and over and over again to scale even beyond $100K a month. So as we dive into this, I need you to slow down your monkey brain, because what I'm about to show you is the boring part of this whole thing, but it's the 20% that leads to 80% of results. And the next 5 minutes or so are going to be what actually makes everything else in this video work. So to explain what I mean, these numbers that you see on the screen right now are going to be responsible for all the success that our Skool community actually has. You see, when you run a Skool community of any sort, we're going to be having our traffic source, which we'll just represent as a T here, which is going to be leading directly into our Skool. And this can either be some organic traffic, this can be ad traffic, but fundamentally from that point on, there are numbers that we need to follow and actually have as KPIs that we need to hit in order to actually make this thing work. What that actually looks like is a 5% lead to set rate, for example. So what that means is that per 100 people that come into this Skool group here, we need to get an absolute minimum 5 of this to not work. And that's at scale with ads. If we're doing this on an organic basis, this should go anywhere up to even 10 people if we're going through and actually using great organic content like I've spoken about in some of my previous videos. Then from that point on, once we've got those people in, we then need to have a 75% show rate, which is going to lead into right here. If we're booking 100 appointments, we're going to get 75 shown. So per 1,000 leads that come in, we're going to get 100 appointments, roughly anywhere between 50 to 100 appointments. And we're going to have showed anywhere from, I believe, 50 to 75 calls. So it's going to be 50 to 75 showed calls. Now, actually making this work and what buttons you need to press in order to have this whole thing function so that we can get these calls and actually generate these high intent leads. Well, the first thing is you need to understand how to actually make your Skool community good. If I show you our Skool community here that I run with my partner, Dylan Wilson, we've done a great job and in all the Skool communities of creating an ample classroom that had lots and lots and lots of information that shows exactly what steps you actually need to take in order to see results. Now, if I click over to an example of one of mine here, where I show a funnel mastery guideline, you can see that in each section that I actually have, there's the ability to actually opt in and redirect to where I want people to go to. And this is the way that you actually convert off your Skool source. Because I see a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just throw up their Skool community just like this, and they'll have lots of community calls, they'll be hype, they'll be directing so many people to it. However, they don't actually have it optimized for conversions. And the best way to do that is to play on two fundamental principles. The first one here is going to be engagement, right? Without engagement, it doesn't matter if you have a call to action because nobody's going to care. So the preliminary thing that we actually need to get is engagement. Beyond that, we then need offer clarity, right? If we look at a lot of Skool communities, there's not a lot of clarity on what the next steps are. Yes, you join the free community, but how can we actually move forward in the process? A lot of the time, there might be small call to actions in certain places, but it needs to be consistently repeated if we ever want someone to believe it. So in all the places that we can repeat it, if I just show you a mock community here. So in this test group, which I'm actually going to show you how to create and optimize later in this video, you can see each of the sections that we can actually have a call to action. The first one is right here on this right-hand side where we can actually attach links. The second one that I would recommend you going ahead and doing is actually setting it up on your profile. So if you click to my Skool profile right here, beyond all the communities that I'm in, you can actually see and get access to every single social media I have. This one being actually directing straight to a landing page and a funnel that I have. So then from that point on, if we go back and look at the places we can have call to actions, the first place is going to be in posts that we have. And to show you an example of what these pinned posts actually look like once they're set up, here's an example of my community. I have my challenge start, and I also have the engagement, which I'll show you in just a second here. And in these, you can have the call to actions to go forward and actually move in your process. And then if we go into the content section, as you can see here, once again, we have those call to actions on each of the documents there. And then once again, on every single post that we're going to make on a daily basis, in the auto DM that we send out, in the emails they get as a result of joining, we're going to consistently redirect them to one thing. And that's going to be first off our offer statement, which for my coaching business that I am talking about right now, it is to mathematically force other coaching businesses to 100K a month. Or with our agency business here, you can see it is to hit 1 mil in 12 months. And exactly the same way that I showed you just now in every single place, we redirect to either the YouTube video so they can redirect back to the content that we have in the landing pages, whatnot, or they're going to click towards the next steps. We make it abundantly clear what they actually need to do in every single step of the process so that we can actually get conversions. And when you do this, it is going to be absolute magic, because now the traffic that you have is going to be consistently reminded of your offer again and again and again till they go to one of 2 points. They can either say yes or they can say no. And until then, you should continue reminding them of your offer again and again. And remember, hearing not interested is a phase of interest. However, it might just be that it's not the best time right now. And to show you and really round up this whole point, it's about understanding and making your offer extremely clear. Skool is a place with a lot of value given and a lot of people doing free, nice things and marketing tactics, etc., etc. But a few people understand that they actually just have to repeat their offer and explain to people what they do. So the biggest thing going forward in actually making and getting these coaching clients with Skool is going to be that we need to explain properly what we do. However, for the rest of this video, I'm going to show you the exact technical setup that you need to follow to optimize your Skool community conversions.
All right, so now we're here over onto Skool. You can see we've got a test group that we just thrown out here. And we also have my own Skool community for my own coaching business, which we're going to use a little bit of a model to show you how to set up your own Skool community. So once you start, it's going to look exactly like this. We see, first thing we're going to go to is our settings. So once you got to our settings, we're pretty much going to avoid everything that is not important and do everything that is important. So first things first, we go to the dashboard up here. This is fine. This is going to be a free community as per our funnel, so we're not going to focus on anything related to payment. This is good to go. Payouts, same thing here. Invite. So this would be the first place that is worth noting. I don't want to go in super depth here, but when someone joins, we're going to be collecting their email, and a very, very important factor getting that set up is the Zapier integration, so we can have them move into email sequences, flows, and things of that nature. So this is going to be something that we set up in the future right here. General. So first things first, you want a group name. I really suggest that you do not put this just as the name of your company. One thing that I've done, and one thing that we do at our own company, is we turn each of the actual communities and the things that we build into challenges. So this is the 12-month to $1 million agency challenge, where we then go ahead and invite people, and there's an objective behind the work that we're doing. This makes it a lot more appealing for someone to actually join the community and work towards something, because it's not just a mastermind anymore. So I suggest you come up with some form of challenge that you're actually inviting people into. Group description, going to be super simple. You want to keep this one sleek. It's super small, so keep it very, very few words. I like to do stuff along the nature of masterminds, insider secrets, and just very, very simple words here. You can see we only have 150 figures total. Overall initials, not too important. Overall color, not too important. What is important here? This needs to be private. Even though the group is going to be completely free, you want it as private, and I'll explain why a little bit later, but just for now, set this as private. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and update the settings here and move on to the custom URL. This is something that's going to be very nice. It's not obviously that important. It's not going to make or break something, but if you are ready to fully commit to Skool, you can go ahead and change to a custom URL, and then from that point on, you'll be ready to go and be able to use that, which is going to make your links look a lot more clean. Then subscriptions, not important. Categories here. This is something where, as someone who ran a very, very large Discord community to actually start our company, Catalyst and Relentless Success Club over here, we want to keep extremely simple. So we're going to have our first category. We would call it general discussion. I like to change the name to mastermind. Just seems way more cool, especially for business. If you have it as some other niche that you're working in, I would switch it to some niche form of language, terminology. Like if it's a football team, maybe a huddle, things of that nature. Then the only other category that you want to add is going to be wins. And from that point on, you should be good to go. So you just want to have mastermind wins. The only reason we have wins separately is so that we can sort by wins and then use that as social proof and assets that we build. But other than that, we want to direct as much traffic as possible to that one news stream, because Skool is kind of hard to communicate on. As you can see here, we have a lot of people that just shoot these messages in, and when we can get them highly concentrated like this, it makes a really good look for a community, and you can see we have a crazy amount of pages that we have go down like that. So those are the only categories we're going to need. Same thing with tabs, just going to leave both on, super solid. Metrics, I'm going to skip plugins, I'm going to go back to in a second here. Metrics, this isn't too important, this is just something you can look at if you're ever curious. Gamification, we're going to completely avoid gamification, not worth the time right now with our free community. Discovery, not too important. Links, this is going to be a little bit important. What we're going to add is we're going to add 2 links. The first one is going to be to work one-on-one. And then the second one is also going to be, so let me just grab an example URL. First one's going to be work one-on-one with, and then name, so I'd write Alex. And then the second one is going to be Alex's channel, and we would just input my YouTube or something of that nature. And then if we take these two, as you can see here, if we go back to our Skool, we now have these 2 links here, which are going to direct people to where we want them to be. So those are, you set up the links. Billing affiliates, this is not going to be too important right here. And if we all the way back to the metrics, sorry, the plugins right here, this is where we're going to set up a lot of the things for our coaching business. First things first, it's going to be the membership questions. So the first thing with membership questions is I want to turn them on. And even though people are joining for free, we want to still qualify them. So once we do that, we're going to ask questions like, okay, well, how long have you been running X business? Could be a great example of a question. Another one could be, okay, what is your business website / social to check out? You can ask them questions about them. So you can go, how old are you? And then you can also add questions in regards to things such as email, which is one that I heavily recommend you do. You collect their email address right here and you just say, what is your email address? This is going to allow you to go ahead and set up an integration so that we can actually communicate and work with these people. But pretty much keep it super simple. You only have 3 questions to use. I would ask for a social and then how long they've been running their business. Super easy stuff, but you're able to get a very good gauge of who they are before you ever even speak with them, just from these questions alone. So this is going to be the first thing. We're going to set up these questions. So now, if I were to go to a private tab like this, and I were to try and join my own community, if I click like here, so now you can see that I have these 3 questions here that I have to answer. So let me just give test answer, and I'd actually have to put in a test@gmail.com address here in order to join group, and then it would just show that my membership is pending, just so we can see here. And then from the actual user perspective, if I go back to the person running the group, if I go ahead now and look at my membership's pending, you can see that I get to see all this information before I even speak with them, which means that when they join, I can go towards the next plugin that we're going to be using, which is going to be the auto DM. So this is something I want to turn on, but we really don't want to leave it as this message, or even a message where we try to pretend like we're a real person. It depends what niche you're operating in. As a rule of thumb, what I'd say is if someone is in a niche where they're not using Skool often, where they're not that informative a buyer, feel free to just leave the message as a simple, hey, da-da-da-da, and you don't have to mention, but it's automated. But if you're speaking with someone in the business space that is constantly dealing with a community like Skool, you need to let them know that it's going to be an automated message, because if not, it's just going to break trust by you pretending to be a real person. So I would do something along the lines of, well, hey name, as you know, this is an automated message. However, I wanted to welcome you to the community. And then you're going to go ahead and make a value proposition. So what I want to show you is the example of the value proposition we use in my own coaching business. So if we go ahead to the plugin that we use, Auto DM Members, and we look at what that is, we pretty much just direct them to the links that we have. So we have the partnership link that we're going to work with, but we also have directing them to the live classroom that we have and the live calls. So you have the option of doing that. So the first step is you can direct them to, we have calls on X date along with Y content for you to check out. And from that point on, what I really recommend you do, especially if you're a smaller community, and what we do when we were a smaller community, is instead of just giving them kind of this blast message where we just say, hey, you can check this out if you want, I think you should go ahead and actually directly manage your own inbox and make a value proposition to them. So, hey, we have calls on this date, we have this content for you to check out. I wanted to know a bit more about your problems or about what is stopping you from achieving, and then the transformation here would be transformation, which would just be pretty much the challenge that you have as your community. So once again, to tie back into what we're talking about a little bit earlier, is the transformation is also going to be the name of the community and kind of the thing that we undergo people through as they join here. So I want to know a little bit more about what's stopping you from transformation. Would be more than happy to personally dive in the trenches to help you solve it as a thank you. And then you can just make this fit and kind of reduce the words or remove certain things like this, and then boom, good to go, save. And then if we preview now, so if someone joins in, they're going to go ahead and get this message. The next thing that we're going to be setting up in the plugin section is going to go ahead and actually be the Zapier integration. So we're going to turn this on, and we're going to turn this on right here, and we're going to go ahead and get the API key. So by no means is this required to run the bare minimum Skool, and in fact, we didn't even have this set up till we were doing well over $50,000 a month. But if you want to email members as soon as they join, you can head over to Zapier just like this, and here's the automation that you'd make. So you'd go ahead and click Skool, and then you would have Skool, and then answered membership questions would be the example of the event that we have. We're going to click continue, choose an account, and you're going to see we have to add an API key in order to get in. So if we look right here, we have this API key that we need to input, and then we just also have to copy the URL on our Skool community. So first things first, we have the API key, and then if we go to the URL right here, we have the Alex's test group 123 that we can input into this section right here. And from that point on, we should be able to go ahead and get access. So let me make sure we can get this done right. Perfect. Yes, continue to Skool. So now what this means is that we're connected in. We have this account good to go, and click continue. Okay, so I just got it pulling properly over here, and you can do this connecting your account. You can see here we have all these submissions of people trying to actually join the Skool community over here, which from that point on, we're simply going to take this, and now we can take the email, the information, the fields we have, and we can send them anywhere. We can send people emails using stuff like Gmail. We can send people texts with things like any of these apps right here, or we can send them to a software like Go High Level through using a webhook or a Webflow that we actually go ahead and connect to our Go High Level, so we can run them through a massive flow that we've got. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow every new member that we now join to have an email sequence that we collect and are able to actually capitalize on. So that is the Zapier integration. That's the second plugin we're going to be using. The next plugin that we're going to actually be running is Unlock at Chat at level 2. So this is something that we're only going to turn on once we have a good amount of members, but we do, as we see here, want to prevent spam and continuous pitches. In our community, we get this a lot. People are trying to say, I got cold callers to sell you, I got this to sell you, I got that to sell you, and you just want to have it so people can only chat at level 2, even if it means there's going to be a little bit less engagement. If you don't want to moderate it every single day, this is going to be a very important plugin in order to get things set up. From that point on, one important thing to make sure that you have off is going to be the instant membership approval. You want to be able to go through and manually review each of these submissions yourself, so that when you see someone that piques your interest and that is really good at what you can do, and you can check out their social media and learn more about them outside of their actual Skool profile, which is why we ask those questions, we can go ahead and hit them with a personalized message, which is going to do a lot to help the engagement and start building a relationship with them. And that is all the plugins we need to do. So the next thing that we're going to dive into is the About page here. So if we go here, simple stuff, you got the logo right here, which you'd like to change, the cover photo, which you'd like to change, but you already know how to do all that stuff. You'll probably have a heyday with the graphic designing. The next phase is going to be the actual description of the group. So there's two things that we can do here. We can either have a video here, or we can have copy down here. So to show you how we do it, if I go to the About page that we use, go ahead, click to About. You can see here we have a video, and in this video we pretty much just explain what the community is about, how it works, and for the most part, what they're going to get and continue to receive when they join here. And if you have a good community with lots of course content, this is something that you can actually deliver for people. If not, what I'd recommend you do is tell a little bit more of a story. So if I click over here to the Skool community that we also have, where I show people how to be coaches, you can see here that I tell a story. So, dear six-figure coaching owners, if you're anything like I was, being financially okay is enough, you want more, etc., etc., etc. I share the story of what I have, and then at the very end, I hit them with the value. So pretty much the format that I like to follow in this is I go through pain experienced, and then I go through and present the group as a resolution to that. So if I'm working with people through fitness, I'd be like, all right, dear aspiring, and then if it's pro athlete, then pro athlete. If it's trying to get a six-pack, then it's people trying to get a six-pack, whatever the niche is. So it would be dear aspiring niche, chances are and then they want to get transformation. So chances are you've got X, and then you can say, but you want more, and then that more would be the transformation. Then you share the story of share pain you went through to achieve result. And then once you've shared the pain you went through to achieve result, you're going to go through the group member plugins. So you're going to go through 2x community calls, course content, personalized roadmaps from me personally. And these would just be 3 examples of value propositions that we're actually going to be delivering and be showing you how to deliver for people. Personalized roadmaps from me personally. So now that we got this set up, or not me personally, for me. Cool. So now once you got this set up, the next phase is going to be to actually go ahead and upload the video that we use to explain the rest of this or share the same story. And then also really just put the whole community and the things that we actually deliver for people together. Because if they just join this community stream, they don't really get anything valuable. So they have no reason to know, like, and trust us anymore. They just joined the Skool community and we're frankly quite disappointed. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and set up our calendar. So the best way to do this is just click create your own event right here. Click out of this just to see how it all works. And now what we want to do is add an event. So I've got a calendar right here, and this is how you're going to want to do it. You're going to want to pick a day where you're going to host a 1x recurring community call, or you can do a 2x recurring community call. So if I go ahead and click right here like this, and I were to set test group community call, and the test group, this would be the transformation name of the group, not just like the name of your company. And you can have it repeat. Surely here we can say like we do calls on Monday and Thursday, and we've got them run for an hour each, and then we have them repeat, so on and so forth. And then once we have this here, we're going to click back to edit. We're just going to add a Google Meet conferencing, and if we want to add a little description of what we're doing, that's fine. But once we save this, now we've got a link for each event that we can actually go ahead and use to plug into Skool. So then from that point on, we're just going to copy this right here. We're going to head back over to our test group, let them know that it's a Meet link. I'm going to drop in the Meet link here. You can just get rid of all the fluff on the other side. I have no clue why I copied the whole thing. Got to go back, and we just got to grab the link alone. So if you want to do that, you can click join here, click this, and you should be good to go. So now what we want to do is we just want to add the exact same information. So we would just take this, input it over, and then set the time, date to the exact same thing, set the description here. So I'm just going to keep this super simple. So we say that we are going to have this as a recurring event that repeats on every Monday and Thursday right here, and it's going to never end. We're just going to repeat it over and over and over and over again, and it's going to last from, what is the time we have set here? From 12 till 1. That would be in Eastern time, so we're going to go ahead and 12 and set it end for 1 hour, and then it will automatically set the rest. And then pretty much upload another color image. You can do that and design that through something like Canva, and then you're good to go. And you can see we have these calls that happen every week on Monday and Thursday that we can now go ahead and have users pop into. And we pretty much, just at first, we're going to need to hype it up. And as we continue to show up week after week after week after week, we're going to have recurring faces that we build up and start to work with people on a consistent basis through this community. So now that we got this set up, the only next step is going to be the classroom. Once we have the classroom, super simple stuff once again. New course, course name, and if you're watching this right now, you might not have a course. If you have a course, amazing. This should be super simple. You're going to input it here. If you do not have a course, what you want to do here is you want to direct people back to your YouTube videos. So you can go ahead and put in name of your course, little description here, and I would just leave all your courses open. People immediately go ahead and get them. You can add a cover to them, add here, and once you're in the course, it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to click edit on this new page like this. Going to add something along the lines of title. And then after and below the title, you're just going to click on YouTube, and you're just going to add a link to your YouTube videos. And this is satisfactory to start. It's going to be the starting base of your actual community that you're building up, and also the course content. And what it's going to do for your audience, if I go to whiteboard, these guys need to get a better SEO score. They lost their SEO score and always go down. But once they've got the actual course content and they're being redirected to YouTube, they're pretty much going from YouTube to Skool back to YouTube. And what this does is going to create a flywheel, because the people that are in here are going to build more knowledge, liking, and trusting you. and they're going to go back to YouTube, interact with you more. It's going to push out your videos to more people and just make a flywheel where it keeps on happening. Or if you're running something like Instagram, this could be even better, because what it means now is they're being directed to your YouTube for the first time, consuming long form content from you for the first time, which means that they're now actually going to build engagement with you. So it's very simple how it works. The course content is just going to be fine as YouTube videos to begin with, and then as you get more and more advanced, you can start recycling a little bit older content, packaging it together into big things as you have a lot bigger of a gallery that you actually use, and then you'll be set. But from this point on, I would just want to set each course as a separate YouTube video, and if you want to help out a little bit more, you can add a complementary asset alongside it. However, the best way to provide value to these people is going to be through you personally helping them, not through a course content or any piece of information you can give them outside of what you put in your socials. So I just want you to focus purely on the actual aspect of when someone joins personally giving them value. So to show you what that looks like, let's say we're to accept our little test friend here. We approve him into the group. So now if we head on over to the actual test me. So as you can now see here, I'm inside the test community with this person right here. And from a user perspective, what we go ahead and see is we've got nothing right here in the community section because we still have to go through and throw up posts. But we're able to see and click through the classroom, for example, and we see the YouTube videos right here. We go into the calendar, we're able to see everything. And from that point on, we're going to get the auto DM, which is the next phase I wanted to show you. Perfect, come in right now, where we get the message from self. So once again, reads the exact same way, but this message is going to provoke a response, etc., etc. And then we're going to go ahead and head back to this actual person right here. And this is going to be where we spend time personally one-on-one with people in order to make sure that we can actually set them, because this is going to be the number one way to actually build up our community and help people achieve results. So now that we covered this, this is all the Skool setup. The next phase we're going to be going into is how to actually run this and make it something that converts for you. All right, so now we are in the final phase of actually getting rich and making a whole bunch of money on Skool. And this is what I like to call the Rocky phase. So in the Rocky movies or any training movie, Creed, whatever you like, for example, you would see that there's usually going to be a 2 to 5 minute scene between the fight where they're actually getting up, getting ready, training, getting amped up for what they're about to watch. I'll throw one on screen right now. This moment might only last 2 to 5 minutes in the movie, but in reality, it's probably majority of the duration of whatever's happening. This could be 6 months. This could be 12 months. This could be a year. This could be 2 years. This could be 5 years. In some cases, this could be an entire decade. And what I like to call it is reps / the Rocky phase. And this is completely from Alex Hormozy, but it completely resonates with what is about to have to happen. So in this Rocky phase, we have everything that we need set up. We just need to do more and more and more of it and just do more volume, and it's going to yield us a crazy return over a certain amount of time. We have our community set up. We don't need to do anything to it anymore. We just have to continue to do the one thing, as I mentioned at the very start, that is going to bring in all the eyes and create and run our entire business for us. And that one thing is going to be creation. All we have to do now is create. What that creation looks like. What you're going to need to do is you're going to do one Skool value daily. This is going to be you writing on your Skool community every single day, regardless of one person sees it or regardless of whether 1,000 people see it. And you're just going to write some kind of form of actual write out. And I'll give you an example of one right now. So if I were to write a Skool value for today and I want to share a story about making this video right now and a lesson that I learned about consistency while making this video, I would go a lesson learned the hard way. This would be a title, for example, and I'd go, so right now can't type, making a YouTube video. And I would just share the story of, as I'm making this video, I have continued to talk about X. X is important because of Y. If we can do X for Z time, we get desired result, etc., etc. And we just share a story in this kind of very conversational format that builds rapport to who we are about one thing per day. And it could just be a random thing that you have inspiration in your life about, or it can be something that you actually want to deliver as value. But think about it, you're talking to your younger self, and imagine you just bumped into him in a hallway or in passing of some sort, and just to give them one little tidbit of advice. What would you say to them? And that is pretty much what you write each and every day. And then if you want to add a little bit of a trick, you can add a little gift to it. So let's say we're talking about content, we can just go video, and then we can add something like this, and it will just make it a little more engaging and get people's attention. So once we have this, throw ahead and post it after we select our category here, just masterminds. It would be now a post that someone could see every single day. And we just want to stack, even if no one sees it, even if absolutely no one sees it, just stack as many of these as possible one time daily, because people will begin seeing it when people join now. At least they'll have something to look at, they have a backlog of. So I hope in this video, I was able to show you the perspective of someone who's done it with their own business and just wants to honestly just share as much value to people who are trying to go along the same path, because this has changed my own life personally. And I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great one.